Well, hello, and it's Mama Jane's husband, and it's
Mama Jane.
and welcome to another of our videos. And this time we're going to tell you about our visit to Grand Turk, which was a very splendid day, I have to say.
Lovely.
And it's not a big place, is it, Grand Turk?
No, it's teeny weeny.
It's a teeny weeny island, and but it's actually is the capital of the Caicos and Turks, or Turks and Caicos Islands. And we got there. You arrive, and it's a small cruise port with a long jetty with space for 2 cruise ships. And we were joined later in the day by another cruise ship, Carnival Freedom. And we got off the ship and we went into the cruise port, and we were picked up by our excursion bus, and off we went. And we went round a tour of the island, didn't we, Mama Jane?
We did, and it's a bizarre little island because you might look at it and think, oh, this is poor and dilapidated. Well, yeah, it is dilapidated in many areas. Now, poor, I'm not so sure of, because poor is very, it depends. Relative, yeah. It's sort of shabby chic.
More shabby than chic.
But having said that, when we passed the schools,
oh,
the kids were dressed in immaculate uniforms. Yeah. So it was a bit weird. It was lovely, absolutely lovely.
Never been anywhere else like it,
Never
have we?
been anywhere like it, no.
And we saw lots of donkeys.
Oh, donkeys, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're just wandering street, they're
a bit like cats anywyer else. They're all over the place.
I've never seen so many cats in one place.
Yeah.
And they just wander there and with little babies and baby donkeys, not as in babies.
And there were a few dogs roaming around as well.
Dogs, it's known for its dogs.
And we came across this enclosure with absolutely loads of goats in.
Yeah, I mean, you might call it a goat farm, but when you say farm, in England we think of big industrial farms, or even just fields and fields of cattle and stuff. No, this was like just, again, ramshackle, but lots and lots of goats.
Black and white goats.
All sorts of goats, So I'm not quite sure how that was. But
and we ended up at a lighthouse. Now, apparently this is a famous lighthouse because they used to have a lot of wrecks, boat wrecks around the Grand Turk. But since they put this lighthouse up, then no more boats have crashed into the island. But it's only a little lighthouse, and by UK standards, it's nothing to write home about. So I wouldn't say it's an essential place
to do.
I wouldn't say it's a must do.
No.
Wouldn't say must do.
No.
The course, that it is worth going up there, I suppose, because the coast is quite rugged and it's not like the beach side. So yeah, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And then we went to, are they called conchs?
Well, I thought they were called conch.
Conch.
But they're not, they pronounce it conch.
Do they?
So yeah, and it's like, those beautiful big twisty shells. I'm talking this big shells.
Yeah.
And in it is this
conch. Yeah.
Animal. Well, yeah, animal.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing.
Which people eat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They can be big style. They're fried. They're stewed. They're everything. You have a conch, and you can do what you like with it. But when we arrived at this conch place, picture, if you can, in England, you're going to somewhere that's like going to tell you about these things. It would all be very swish and very beautiful, and no, not here.
This was hand knitted.
This was hand knitted, so
with a few drop stitches.
Yeah, it was like tarpaulin slung across a frame.
Some wooden benches.
And having said that, the man was very knowledgeable, and he showed us the conchs. He showed us some sea cucumbers, which are an animal, not a vegetable.
Which are worth a fortune, apparently.
Yeah, and jellyfish. We saw some,
We saw some jellyfish as well, didn't we? Yeah.
So,
I touched a jellyfish and lived.
And I think what we have to remember, because we have never been to Caribbean before, so to us this was all a bit, whoa, this is unusual. Well, when we were talking to people afterwards, they were saying, well, everywhere on Caribbean is very rustic. Let's say rustic, shall we? Yeah. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Yeah.
Anyway, when the tour ended at one of the beaches on Grand Turk called the Governor's Beach, and we dropped off there, and they had some cake and water for us, didn't they?
Yeah, we got a bottle of water and some sort of like carrot cake.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
It was a big portion of carrot
Each
cake
in a separate box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were dropped off there, and there were couches. No, what are they called?
Sun lounges.
Sun lounges and brollies provided, and there's plenty of them. And we had an absolutely wonderful afternoon there.
We did, and we were literally
it was
feet
glorious.
away from the sea. I mean, it was just absolutely
no tide or anything.
Beautiful.
And Grand Turk is at the edge of a shelf. I think it might be a volcanic shelf, because if you swim, it's beautiful turquoise water, and then you get deep blue water, and that's because the depth of the ocean drops, so it's quite shallow, and then it drops to 7,000 feet, and that's when it gets a lot
But
deeper.
you took it quite a way.
Yeah,
you wouldn't just accidentally fall.
No, you wouldn't
yeah.
accidentally. No. And of course, you're not going to fall down it, because you're swimming around it, aren't you?
Yeah.
But just to explain that.
Yeah.
But I had a fantastic swim, and I really enjoyed my time in the water. Beautiful water. Swimming was easy, although there is quite a current. But it's just beautiful, absolutely glorious. Best place I've had a swim. We had a walk along the beach, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you could buy a drink on the beach, and they had some coolers to cool the drinks and everything, and we had a couple of drinks, didn't we?
Yeah, they weren't like bars.
No.
They were just soft drinks, and it was just a lady who rocked up with a table and some cans of pop, and then there was some men that done the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's all very haphazard. Yeah. It's not a big organised thing.
But the loungers were only for those who were on the tours. And was it fantastic tours we were with?
No.
Was it fantastic tours we were with?
Could have been fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, they were lovely. I'd heartily recommend. I'll drop a picture in, and they were fantastic, they were fantastic. Whether they call fantastic tours or not.
They should be.
They should be,
if
shouldn't
they're not, they should be.
They would. Yeah. So they took us back to the cruise port.
But that was on it. You could go back. Either you could just literally have a look at the beach and go back to the cruise, or you could just stay, and I think they were every half hour, the shuttle bus would take you back so no problem getting back. No. At all.
It was very well organised.
Very well.
Really enjoyed it. And we got back, and we in the cruise port there's a Margaritaville. Now we're not familiar with Margaritaville, and I suppose if you like Margaritaville, that sort of thing, then you'll spend some time there.
Yeah.
But it was quite loud.
It was very loud. It wasn't quite loud, darling.
It was very loud.
It was very loud.
Very loud. And there was a restaurant there, there was a bar there. Couldn't quite see how it all worked, and but it was so loud I couldn't think and work out. And
it's a huge swimming pool.
Yeah,
it's a huge swimming pool.
But it wasn't our cup of tea, was it?
No,
really?
I'm sure it was a cup of tea for a lot of people.
Well, it was, because it was packed.
Absolutely
of people.
Packed.
Mainly from the Carnival ship, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there was many from the Cunard ship
there. But it was, as I say, if that's what you're looking for, some loud, banging music, a big pool with swim-up bars, that's the place to make for, because it looked as if people were having a really good time. It just wasn't our good time. But the other shops in the area there, they were lovely and they were not expensive. They were all selling the touristy kind of things, but
they were reasonably
they
priced.
were lovely.
And I bought a T-shirt there, and it was good quality.
Yeah.
And you bought some stuff
like
there,
a nice
and it was
scarf
good quality.
thing. It's good quality,
and,
yeah.
And then we walked on a bit further. We saw this sort of memorial to John Glenn, whose space capsule was picked up and brought to Grand Turk. Bit underwhelmed by that, I have to say.
Because but we'd seen the...
Yeah.
Perhaps if we'd not been to the space centre, we might have thought, oh wow, look at this. But we went...
Underwhelmed. But we did find a bar, I think it's called Having a Whale at the time, at that end of the cruise port. And they did food as well. But we had a drink. And I had one of the local lagers, and that was really lovely. And they had, was it pina colada on tap?
Like
draft pina colada.
Like a big machine thing full of
pina colada.
Pina colada, I suppose.
Yeah, pre-mixed. So Mama Jane had a draft pina colada.
I live to tell the story.
Yeah. And we had a night, we sat there, and it was lovely. Absolutely lovely, and it was a good end to what it was. A Faberuni day, it has to be said. And we'd love to get back to see the Governor's Beach again and spend some time.
I would love. There were very few hotels, as in big hotels. In fact, there weren't any big hotels. There were one or two hotels, some very ancient houses, which actually, if we had been walking, we could have read the plaques. All the houses on this particular street had plaques, because they were from 18 something, these houses. And so I think that would have been interesting to read the plaques, but we didn't have time, because we were just driving slowly, but driving through the...
So we'd love to go back to Grand Turk,
I'd love
wouldn't
to,
we?
yeah.
But highly recommended place to visit, and so it should be on everybody's bucket list, and is on our return bucket list, I would say. So a Faberuni place to go to. Would you agree, Mama Jane?
I certainly would. On this occasion, Alan, I agree with you.
You said my name.
I know.
Yeah, I'm Mama Jane's husband, not Alan.
It's a lot to say, though, isn't it?
It is.
Talking to you, yeah.
So bye for now.